In 2026, the Linux desktop landscape looks more exciting than it has in decades. For years, people believed Linux desktops were fragmented, confusing, or only meant for developers. But that narrative is rapidly disappearing. Modern Linux desktops are fast, polished, beautiful, and in many cases more customizable than anything available on proprietary operating systems. The truth is that the desktop environment you choose defines the entire Linux experience. Two people can run the same Linux distribution but have completely different workflows, depending on the desktop environment they install. Some environments focus on performance and minimal resource usage. Others aim for elegance and modern design, while a few attempt to recreate the familiarity of traditional desktop layouts used by millions of Windows users around the world. What makes 2026 especially interesting is that several desktop environments have matured at the same time, creating real competition for the top spot. Instead of a single obvious winner, the Linux community now has multiple strong contenders, each targeting a different kind of user. To understand why desktop environments matter so much, you have to think of them as the visual and interactive layer of Linux. The desktop environment controls the taskbar, the application launcher, window management, notifications, system settings, animations, and many other elements that define how the operating system feels to use every day. Linux itself is just the underlying system, but the desktop environment is what users interact with every time they turn on their computer. Over the years, developers have experimented with radically different approaches to the desktop. Some environments prioritize simplicity and familiarity. Others prioritize productivity or performance, and a few attempt to push the boundaries of design in ways that traditional operating systems rarely attempt. One of the biggest names in the Linux world is the desktop environment known as GNOME. For many users, GNOME is the first Linux desktop they ever experienced because it powers several of the most widely used Linux distributions. GNOME has a very distinct design philosophy that focuses on minimalism and simplicity. Instead of traditional desktop clutter, GNOME prefers a clean workspace where applications take center stage. The Activities Overview replaces the traditional Start menu concept, allowing users to search for applications, manage workspaces, and switch between tasks quickly. Over the years, GNOME has evolved into a highly polished environment that integrates modern technologies such as Wayland and advanced touch support. In fact, modern versions of GNOME rely heavily on Wayland as the default display system, which improves security and graphical performance compared to older technologies. However, GNOME is also known for being somewhat opinionated. It intentionally removes or hides many customization options to maintain a consistent design experience. Some users love this approach because it keeps the interface simple and focused, while others prefer environments that allow deeper customization. Another major contender in the Linux desktop ecosystem is KDE Plasma. KDE Plasma has built a reputation for being one of the most customizable desktop environments ever created. Practically every visual element can be modified, from panel layouts and widget placement to window behavior and animation effects. KDE also includes a massive ecosystem of applications designed to integrate seamlessly with the desktop. Tools like the Dolphin File Manager, the KDE Settings Center, and integrated widgets provide an incredibly flexible experience. One of the most impressive aspects of KDE Plasma is how efficient it has become over time. Despite offering a huge number of features and customization options, modern versions of Plasma run surprisingly well, even on modest hardware. Tests show that Plasma can operate with roughly 400 megabytes of RAM at idle, which is extremely impressive for a full-featured desktop environment. This efficiency, combined with deep customization, has made KDE Plasma a favorite among power users who want their system to behave exactly the way they prefer. If KDE Plasma represents the power user's dream and GNOME represents modern minimalism, then Cinnamon represents familiarity and comfort. Cinnamon was originally created to provide a more traditional desktop experience when many Linux environments began experimenting with radical interface changes. Instead of reinventing how desktops work, Cinnamon focuses on refining a layout that millions of people already understand. It includes a familiar taskbar, system tray, an application menu similar to traditional operating systems. This makes it particularly attractive to people switching from Windows. One of the reasons Cinnamon has become so popular is its balance between simplicity and functionality. It includes enough customization options to satisfy most users while still maintaining a stable and predictable interface. Recent versions have improved performance significantly and introduced smoother animations and better multi-monitor support. Updates have also reorganized the application menu and improved how categories and system shortcuts appear, creating a cleaner and more efficient workflow. The result is an environment that feels modern without forcing users to relearn everything they know about desktop computing. Another environment that deserves serious attention is XFCE. While it may not receive the same level of attention as GNOME or KDE, XFCE has quietly built a reputation for being one of the fastest and most reliable Linux desktops available. XFCE focuses on efficiency and simplicity, making it an excellent choice for older hardware systems where performance is a top priority. Instead of flashy animations or heavy graphical effects, XFCE emphasizes responsiveness and stability. It uses a modular design that allows users to combine components in different ways, meaning the environment can be customized without becoming unnecessarily complex. One of the reasons XFCE continues to thrive is its ability to run smoothly, even on systems with limited resources. With a baseline memory usage of roughly 250 megabytes, XFCE can run comfortably on computers that struggle with heavier environments. This makes it particularly popular among users who want to revive older laptops or build lightweight Linux systems. Then there is Budgie, a desktop environment that blends modern design with a relatively straightforward interface. Budgie focuses heavily on visual polish and user-friendliness. One of its defining features is the Raven's sidebar, which provides quick access to notifications, widgets, and system information in a single unified panel. This approach helps reduce clutter while still keeping useful tools easily accessible. Budgie has gained a loyal following because it delivers a clean and attractive interface without overwhelming users with complex configuration tools. It often feels like a middle ground between GNOME's minimalism and KDE's customization. Deepin is another interesting environment that has gained attention primarily because of its design. Deepin emphasizes visual elegance, smooth animations, and a consistent design language across its applications. The desktop includes a polished dock, elegant control center, and modern transparency effects that make it one of the most visually distinctive Linux environments available. However, Deepin is also heavier than many other desktops and typically requires more powerful hardware to run comfortably. Its memory usage can approach nearly a gigabyte in some configurations, which places it among the more resource-intensive environments in the Linux ecosystem. Even so, for users who prioritize aesthetics and design, Deepin offers an experience that rivals or even surpasses many commercial operating systems. Another classic environment that still maintains a strong user base is MateMate. Was created as a continuation of the older GNOME 2 desktop interface after GNOME moved toward a more modern design. Many users loved the traditional workflow of GNOME 2 and wanted to preserve that experience. Mate continues to deliver exactly that. It provides a familiar desktop layout with a panel, menu system, and straightforward configuration tools. While it may not be the most visually modern environment, it is extremely stable and efficient. This reliability has made it popular among users who value predictability and long-term stability over cutting-edge design. LXQt represents another category entirely. Instead of focusing on features or design, LXQt prioritizes minimal resource usage. It is one of the lightest full desktop environments available and can run with as little as 200 megabytes of memory at idle. This makes it ideal for very old hardware, lightweight systems, or specialized setups where efficiency is more important than visual flair. LXQt may not include many advanced features by default, but its simplicity is exactly what makes it attractive for certain use cases. When ranking desktop environments for 2026, several factors matter. Performance is obviously important because users want a responsive system that does not waste resources. Customization is also crucial because one of the main reasons people choose Linux is the freedom to modify their environment. Stability matters as well, especially for users who rely on Linux for work or development. Finally, usability plays a huge role because the best desktop is the one that feels intuitive and efficient during everyday tasks. If performance alone were the deciding factor, lightweight environments like LXQt or XFCE might take the top spot. They run extremely well on almost any hardware and rarely suffer from performance issues. However, they lack some of the modern features and visual polish that many users expect from a contemporary desktop. If customization were the only criterion, KDE Plasma would almost certainly win. Its massive configuration options allow users to tailor nearly every aspect of the interface, from panel placement to advanced window behavior. For power users, this level of control is incredibly appealing. GNOME, on the other hand, shines in terms of design, consistency, and integration. Its applications share a common design language, and its workflow feels cohesive and deliberate. GNOME also continues to push forward with modern technologies like Wayland, making it one of the most forward-looking desktop environments available. But its limited customization options remain a sticking point for users who want more control over their interface. This brings us to the unexpected winner that many people overlook at first glance. Cinnamon quietly combines the strengths of several different desktop philosophies into one cohesive experience. It provides the familiar layout that newcomers appreciate, the performance improvements that power users expect, and enough customization to keep the environment flexible without becoming overwhelming. Cinnamon's development philosophy emphasizes stability and incremental improvement rather than radical redesigns. This means users rarely have to relearn the interface after updates, which builds long-term trust in the platform. Over the past few years, Cinnamon has steadily improved performance, reduced memory usage, and refined its interface to make everyday tasks faster and more intuitive. The result is a desktop environment that feels mature, stable, and approachable. Community discussions also reflect this balance. Many Linux users praise environments like KDE for their features, but they often recommend Cinnamon to newcomers because it simply works and feels familiar. In community conversations, you frequently see users describing Cinnamon as simple, light, easy to use, which captures its overall philosophy. That combination of accessibility and reliability is incredibly valuable for people who are exploring Linux for the first time. Another reason Cinnamon stands out is how well it supports the needs of everyday desktop users. Developers can work comfortably with multiple monitors. Office users can manage documents and applications efficiently, and gamers can enjoy a familiar interface that does not interfere with performance. Unlike some environments that focus heavily on experimental features, Cinnamon prioritizes consistency and usability. This might sound less exciting than cutting-edge innovations, but in practice it creates a desktop experience that many users end up preferring. The Linux desktop ecosystem will likely continue evolving as new technologies appear. Wayland is gradually replacing older display systems, bringing improved security and better graphics performance. New projects like Rust-based desktops and tiling window managers are also experimenting with different approaches to productivity and system design. Yet, the traditional desktop paradigm remains incredibly powerful because it offers a balance between simplicity and flexibility. Ultimately, the best Linux desktop environment depends on the user. Someone running Linux on an older laptop might prefer XFCE or LXQt for their efficiency. A power user who enjoys tweaking every detail might choose KDE Plasma. Someone who appreciates modern design might gravitate toward GNOME or Budgie. But when considering the overall balance of usability, performance, and familiarity, Cinnamon has quietly become one of the most compelling options available in 2026. What makes this especially interesting is that the unexpected winner is not necessarily the most flashy or the most experimental environment. Instead, it is the one that manages to bring together the best qualities of the Linux desktop world. It respects traditional workflows while still embracing modern improvements. It runs efficiently without sacrificing visual polish. And most importantly, it allows users to focus on their work rather than constantly adjusting their interface. The Linux desktop revolution is often discussed in terms of new technologies, new distributions, and new features. But the real story of 2026 is how mature the ecosystem has become. Users are no longer choosing between a handful of rough or unfinished environments. Instead, they are choosing between multiple polished, powerful, and stable desktops that can compete with any operating system on the market. The freedom to choose the desktop that fits your workflow is one of the defining strengths of Linux. And in 2026, that freedom is stronger than ever. And that is why ranking Linux desktop environments today is both exciting and difficult. Each environment offers something unique, and each appeals to a different type of user. Yet if you step back and look at the overall picture, one thing becomes clear. The Linux desktop is no longer an experiment. It is a mature platform with choices that can satisfy beginners, developers, designers, gamers, and power users alike. And among those choices, the quiet rise of Cinnamon proves that sometimes the best innovation is not reinventing the desktop, but perfecting the one people already love.